stand by me only if I'm right. I come out of triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a
side. Gotta do a better job ending relationships.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We gotta stop ending relationships with so much anger and bitterness to the point where we let it affect the biggest thing we did together.
Wow.
Which was create these babies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which was probably. Welcome to the B2M Crew with 5 brothers who have been friends for over 40 years, parenting together, growing together, learning together, get together on this podcast to talk about those experiences that we've had. We have a combined 12 children, 13 children, and 12 sons.
That's right.
Amongst us. We've been married over a combined 100 years. And we're just letting you into some conversations that we've been having since our adolescence and growing into from boys to men in terms of being a support and being an example of steel sharpening steel and men sharpening men. We are broadcasting from the Code Building in downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, and it is the Center for...
the Center of Developing Entrepreneurs, Code.
The Code Building, one of our wonderful sponsors. We're happy to be broadcasting from here. Also brought to you by Win Productions. Brand new studio about a month old down in Fayetteville, Georgia. Wonderful studio production facility for your media production needs down in the Atlanta area. What's the number, Talib?
754-225-2805.
2805. I'm the Wavo Black. I'm joined over here to my right by John J.G. Yates.
What up, though?
My man Chill over there.
Yay.
The good brother Waki and J. Moo.
Peace.
I got a situation, man. So, we all have children, that's what we've discussed.
Yes.
And saw a little situation on the news the other day where parents at odds over what's right for a child.
So disagreeing. They
in love. They share the same vision, same household. At odds, though, having a disagreement over what should happen in a specific situation about whether a child should return to one school or try a new school based on a given situation. Why can you actually talk about a situation like that you had with your son? Those are some touchy situations, like what to do with our child. So has anyone ever had any situation where you actually had a disagreement with your spouse or significant other about your child or philosophical differences? And sometimes the differences don't mean you're not getting along. You two parents, you raised in two totally different worlds, two totally different environments. Most of us married up. So a lot of our strategies might not have been received well.
I think, go ahead.
Now, first thing I'm saying, differences is not deficiencies, right? And so, like you said, you grew up in two different households.
Back up. Differences
does not mean deficiencies.
Differences does not mean deficiencies. Okay.
Nice.
Absolutely. And so having the ability to communicate through those items, because you're going to disagree, right? Whoever you marry, no matter how great your marriage is, you're going to disagree on certain things. And parenting is one of them. And sometimes you got to make a unilateral decision. Sometimes you collaborate, right? And so just finding that right one and then trying to bring what was so good about your childhood into the marriage and vice versa, and eliminating the foolishness, and then trying to make that decision of what's the best decision in that particular case for our child.
Before we did this, I didn't think I could come up with an example. I think I got a pretty early one, right? So when I moved back to this area from Baltimore, and I was a young teacher, and we had made a decision to put, when it was time for my son to go to school, we went to private school, right? We talked about this. That summer, and he was the only black student there, right? So of course, me being pro-black, I'm like, I can't have him like just having that experience.
He breaking
alone.
barriers in 2005.
So instead of
Right.
sending them out to the suburban county camp that first year, I said, you know what? I'm gonna make him go to the Boys and Girls Club at Buford. That was my response to having to send him to private school.
To balance him out.
Yeah, he got to balance it out. He got to go over there with the folks, right? And so, and my wife was hesitant. You know what I'm saying? She was like, why we got to do all that? I was like, cause he got to learn how to be tough. You know what I mean? It ain't like that over at that school. All those, you know, he got to get.
He got to be around his
socialized.
people.
He got to deal with some adversity. The first day, he came. We picked him up, and he said they poured Kool-Aid on him.
Not Kool-Aid.
Right? Little kids ain't got the. And mind you, at the time, we weren't even drinking Kool-Aid. That was our drink, right?
Right. That was our
raised my
generation.
kid with a child. He didn't even know what Kool-Aid was, right? They poured Kool-Aid on him, man. They got together. He was a new kid. They circled him, poured Kool-Aid on him, and then they made him feel this little girl's butt. What happened on the first day? He was like
God.
5. Seriously, that's what happened. It was, you know, they was about it over there. So he came home and told us a story. And while he was telling me the story, I could just see my wife just feeling all uncomfortable, knowing that I was going to say, nah, he got to have these experiences, all of this and that. Come that Friday, the first week, every day he coming home with some different stories.
So he got initiated.
Every day, bro. Every day. So by Friday, they went ice skating. And she called me and said, pretty much, well, you know how they hit you with the, are you happy now? He done went ice skating, bumped up into somebody, something fell, got a hole in his chin.
Oh my goodness.
Got to come down, get stitches. All this stuff happened in 1 week. And she was like, are you so sure that this socialization is worth everything that's going on right now? You know what I'm saying? And so I just remember a lot of conversations we were having about, you could bust your chin anywhere. He could have been right out at Agner somewhere and busted his chin.
This sounded like a real Murphy's Law week.
And yeah, I was just like, stuff could have happened anyway. But I just remember her being a young mother, me being a young father, and adamant that I was really, really serious about this socialization, and she wasn't. And the only reason I think my perspective won out was because I used the one card we always use.
What was that?
I know how to raise a little boy.
Oh.
Right.
You don't know what little boys need. I used the
Right.
masculinity card, right?
Yeah.
I just remember, though, the conversations were intense because she cared about her child in the way she does, and you care about
A mother's love and a father's
they're
love.
not as ready
It's
to see them go through some discomfort as we are sometimes, you know. But,
Yeah. And you felt a whole lot safer putting them through that at home rather than in Baltimore. You know?
And no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We would not have been at the Baltimore Boys and Girls.
Yeah.
we would not that's something small, but I'm just saying, I just remember the discussions was like, that might have been the first time we really didn't see eye to eye on something because that was my strategy.
Well,
You know what I mean?
real quick on that, in what JG had mentioned on that of well, yeah, we're gonna have disagreements, and this, that, and the third. What came to my mind was, well, and I guess for you, did y'all kind of courted, right, in the beginning of your marriage?
We did.
So was that discussed in courtship? You know
We
what I'm
did
saying?
not discuss what we would do.
how we would raise our, how we would raise our children and what
He
have
was
you.
lying in courtship, brother. Nah.
No, I don't think it got that detailed.
Right. So that's what
Might have
You know what I'm
discussed
saying?
it, but
that's what made me think that should be important then. With that.
That's what we need to tell our kids, that certain
Well,
questions are asked. We
well,
didn't
you
know
know
not
what?
know what to ask.
Now, it's one thing to talk about it because we did talk about what are we going to do if he's going into an environment and he's the only black face,
Okay.
right? The response is I stayed true to this throughout my kids' upbringing. Like even when we were living out in deeper suburbs, I'm taking you to go down you got to go play with everybody. You can't go play in this isolated bubble with all of these suburban kids. We going down there with real folks to play. That's what we're gonna do.
Hey, hold on,
Those
brother.
are
It's
teams
suburban
outside
code for white. Nah, I'm just
Not really where I'm from.
okay.
Not really where I live now. It's majority black almost. everywhere, but it's still the income difference
Okay.
is the class difference in this case is almost like a race difference in a sense because
Okay.
it's just different values. And my thing was just in general, you're going to I tell you what it was driven by at that time was they were still going to private school when I moved to the DC Maryland area.
Okay.
So since they were still going to school in Alexandria, I was still on that type of time where y'all not playing ball over here. We going back and play.
Okay.
So I stayed true to that, but so we had discussions about it, but it's different when pain comes.
Okay. Right.
When everything
Right.
working out is fine, but that minute when you put them in that environment and that environment does what that environment
Trial,
does,
brother. That's again.
then
Trial.
that's a
Yes,
whole
sir.
nother-
I think it's what you just
Try.
said is the perfect analogy is when they're a little toddler and they run and fall down, right? Now he all right, let them get up. And sometimes a lot of moms are like, oh, run to their rescue. So we got plenty of those same scenarios as 5th graders, 8th graders, 10th graders, all the way through high school
Right.
and through life, right? Sometimes you got to let them fall, but we still got them. But we'll let them for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some mamas
yeah.
will just let it go. But generally speaking, that's how it will work.
Those are the disagreements.
Yeah, and it's the difference between the mother's love and the father's love. One is not better than the other. You know what I mean? Both are needed tremendously, right? So that's why I'm saying again, going back to different is not deficient. If something happened to the mother of my kids, I can never be their mom. I never be their mother. You know what I'm saying?
do
I can just be the best father I can be, and vice versa.
do women internalize the differences as a disagreement? I mean, as a deficiency?
That's a good question. I don't think maybe some do, but
not
I think it's
not a blanket thing, but like
Yeah.
so if a man in a relationship is like, hey, look, nah, we not doing it. Is this way, whatever.
right.
Do they internalize it as we think they're wrong,
That's a good question. I think when
or do we internalize it as they think we're wrong when they disagree with us?
I think when we communicate and you let your lady know that her femininity is such a strong, beautiful thing, and if she can say the same thing to us, and we recognize the strength in that, even though it's different, and then it can I think the ebb and flow will go better when that's acknowledged and recognized and nurtured.
But do they have? So who has to give more when it comes to that dynamic? Who gives more when it comes to the disagreement? Do we end up compromising more, or do they end up compromising more?
Hey, good question.
I think if you're a father and you got a daughter, then you probably
Yeah,
you
that
got
I was thinking about
you got
that
that
too.
soft spot, but then you talking about a father talking to a son, there ain't no soft spot. It's like, yo, this is it. So
It depends on the subject. It really
that too.
depends on the
But
subject
I'm
matter.
just saying,
Yeah.
So what would you have done if you was you knew Tyreek needed some tough love in a situation, and the mom and Katrina wasn't really rocking with it like that? This my baby. How do you handle that space?
I'll just tell her, hey, babe, look, you know what? Right now is men talk.
Okay.
And she was like, she don't even ask me what that means.
Do you
See,
start?
you did like I said earlier. I put a
Do
masculinity.
you start that
card.
conversation with anime?
I said, a lot.
Men talk now.
But it's funny
That dude sound like
because
some
now
color purple stuff.
it's funny because now she'll be like, I think you need to have a talk with him. I'm like, all right, babe. But sometimes that will happen. But I have to follow the timing, so to speak. Sometimes, like it may be a day or two go by, and I'm watching the deliverance of it because I think in certain situations, I think the deliverance is everything for somebody to be able to receive something. And if maybe they struggling in the area or frustrated or tripping or stressed out about this area, well, I'm not gonna bring some on another level to them. I'll just wait and then say, I say, hey man, what's going on with you? And D said, well, this is going on. And then maybe while we talking and having dialogue, then I'll slide it in if it's relatable.
So do you attribute that the way you handle it with your son to the reason why your wife defers to you when you say it's man talk?
I think I've done it a few times, and then you see the results, and now you believe that it's going to be
You
addressed.
trust it. They gain confidence
Right.
in your perspective, even
Right.
though they might have disagreed.
Yeah, you're like, I be like, babe, I'll handle it. You know, even sometimes or whatever, you know, if they talking or whatever, I was like, babe, don't worry about it. I got it. You know.
You ever messed up, Joaquin? Made it like you and your wife
Not
had a
Joaquin.
difference.
Nah, Joaquin ain't
You
no.
and your wife had a
No.
difference of opinion, something about the kids, and you was just wrong.
You think he's gonna admit that? Well, I gotta admit that.
Cut. I'm not gonna put this on tape.
No, man. Now I'm thinking about that. Yes. I can think of one right now. When my son was in high school,
Which one?
Darius, oldest son,
Mhm.
you know, a lot of the battles I had with Darius, they'd never happened with Kari because they got resolved with Darius. You know, so
Plus they different.
we learn. You know, I learned as a parent.
Yeah.
We learn as a parent. But I remember specifically one time it was really tough because it was time for him to like start looking at going to college and what school you going to, where you going, what we doing. We need to go visit. We need to, you know, and it almost seemed like, I think to him and probably to me too, almost every time I talked to him, it was about going to college. And I'm pretty sure he pretty much got fed up with hearing that's all I was really talking about, you know. And a big reason because I wanted him to go where I wanted him to go, you know. And I wanted him to go to Alabama. I wanted him to walk on to the football team and play football. And we had, you know, some connections in a certain situation where he was going to be able to do that. And he had already been accepted into the school. And so I'm like, yo, like, this is what we doing. Like, I was all in, you know.
This is what we've been waiting for.
This is what I've been
What
waiting
did they talk
for.
about?
I want to be roll tide with the hat on. I want to be at the
And
national
what
championship
happened?
game.
And what happened?
And 2 weeks before it was time to send in the deposit, he was just like, I ain't going to Alabama.
You did you slap
That
your
shit
head
ain't
like
funny,
that?
man. That shit ain't funny.
It's funny because I know you.
Did you slap your
The
head?
way
Out?
you felt or whatever was just like,
Did you slap your head, man?
No, man. I was just.
what the F you
Yeah.
mean? I'm sure.
Yeah, I was just real unreasonable at the time. I was dead wrong, bro. I was dead wrong. And so it's confrontation, it's tension. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you making these choices for the wrong reasons. I know what's best for you. You need to listen to me. You know, I was on that. And I was just so wrong, bro. I was so wrong. And then one day, we were going back and forth. And Tracy just looked at me and she was like, Joaquin, Darius is going to college. You are not. This is his decision. And you need to let him make his decision. And for some reason, when she said it to me, I was like, you're exactly right.
Facts.
You're exactly right. I agree. I'm out of it. I was still salty, but I ain't bringing it up no more.
And when they blow up in your face, don't come to me.
Hey, for
That was a caveat.
So that's a good example of
It
where
is.
I think that is a major part of why my youngest son is a professional Call of Duty player. Because when it came time for him doing his thing, I'm like, I'm not going to do that again.
This conversation might morph into something else because you
Right.
pointed out something very critical just now, right? Because it wasn't that your wife didn't agree with you. You know, she knew she disagreed with you probably for a whole part, but she got to a point where she was like, time for me to intervene.
Yeah.
But the way she did it, you said that. The way, somebody else said it. The way she
Timing.
did it.
yeah,
Timing.
yeah.
He didn't say it about that
Did
dinner
not
that she made
challenge.
beforehand.
The way she did
She
it,
set him up.
the way she did it didn't challenge your masculinity or your
Right,
pride,
right.
which all men deal with. I don't care. Listen, anybody that say I ain't got no pride, that's crap.
Yeah.
there's a way for women to talk to men to disarm them, and they know how to do it. You understand what I'm saying?
right.
They know how to get exactly what they want from us, right?
Some-
and so because
some
she
do,
ain't
yes.
say, some of them do. I'm saying
Yeah.
when they understand that, but she didn't say like when I was jokingly saying earlier, which didn't happen. You done had him at the camp long enough. Now you got a hole in his chin.
Right.
See, now you see that's the problem. You part of the problem. You see,
I think we.
so that's my point though is a discussion about the disagreements and the handling of them lie all in not in the fact that it's not a deficiency, and we got to know how to talk to each other.
Right.
I think
Communication.
I think
Yeah.
before we go any further, we definitely need to address this.
What?
And out of 40 years, 50 years, I've been knowing my brother. I don't think nobody on this panel ever heard him say something like that, right?
He was wrong. He chose such a non-threatening.
He got some more in there, don't he?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Nah,
It's the only thing I can think.
No, but you know what happened?
Nah, but it's
if
good,
Tracy had
though.
said, you know what, Joaquin? That's the dumbest thing you ever said. You acting all stupid and all that. Then you caught up in all that.
Right, exactly.
Right.
They're supposed to be thinking about
You
Derek.
worried about your
Right.
dreams,
Yeah.
and living vicariously through them.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that
Yeah.
was
You
a big
usually,
lesson.
man, I found that the times I've disagreed with my wife about something with the boys is when I'm not being mindful that they got a DNA different than mine.
Great point.
Right? I understand them totally when they do stuff that I do.
Right. Oh, okay.
Right.
From that part of their DNA.
You
But that
recognize
stuff
the
that
bad
come from their
stuff, too.
mama.
Yeah,
That's something
yeah. When I see that, I be like, boy, they look like my brother right there. He definitely one of us, right? But when they do some stuff that's outside of that, you like, that's your mama's side. That's the first thing we say, bro, when we don't understand. But
That's your boy.
The fact of the matter is, they understand their children through their lens of understanding themselves too.
Hey, that's
And
it.
they help us understand our children sometimes. Like I sometimes she'll be like, you know what? What he really saying is this. I say, you know what? Damn, you be thinking like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm glad
I catch
you explained
myself
it to
because
me.
I be like,
That's heavy.
that's not some shit you would say. You
Yeah,
know,
that's heavy, though.
okay.
Right.
This is not just a mini me. This is
Right.
another human being that got a set of characteristics and DNA that's calling him to do other things too.
And that's a blessing to be able to recognize that.
Yeah, it is. But women are keen like that because they understand that we don't understand the emotional life of our kids like that. Like we're not even thinking about it. Like when they say, you know what? They can identify with the frustration with our decisions. The women can, because they be like, he probably feeling like his dad don't such and such and so and so, or because he think this way and thinking this, and then they can come tell us that and we can readjust. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to it being, you just want it all your way, and it's just so much important. I'm just highlighting the importance of us to communicate with each other as couples, man.
And the key is easy to say when he doing some good and he balling out. That's my boy. You know what I mean? But when he not doing some good, you like, damn, he got that from me too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I need to fix it or
Shortcomings.
hide it from him.
Or
You know
even
what
the
I'm
worst,
saying?
where the hell he get that from?
Right. And so, you know,
When it ain't neither one of y'all.
and what you hear
That's
most
it.
of the time is the man, he ain't no good like his daddy. That type of foolishness.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's a horrible.
But
I got a home rush for somebody to hit out the park. Why is it important for parents not to disagree in front of the children?
I'm gonna disagree with it. I think it's important to disagree in front of the kids, but it's how you do it. Now, it's the difference between having a screaming, shouting, and carrying on and physical altercation. Absolutely not that. But I think it's important to show them that we're gonna disagree, and have them see you come to a resolution. Now, if you know it's gonna be one of them drag outs, now don't do that.
Those
in front
tough
of the kids.
Let me say
conversations.
this.
Yeah.
I think it's important for them to see you disagree and resolve disagreements in front of them.
Right.
But I don't think you should ever disagree about them in
Oh,
front of them.
okay.
Oh yeah,
About a
yeah,
decision.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
not. We're not
Yeah.
gonna have a disagreement about them.
Right.
They can see
I
us
told him he
disagreeing.
could go. I said no, he can't go.
Yeah,
One
they
of
should
those type
never.
of things.
They should never see that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because now you can start to develop a thing. You know, if you and your wife may be having some issues where you manipulating the kid because you're trying to be good guy,
Right.
or she may be manipulating the kid because she trying to be, you know, good cop. You know, so we want to make sure that we never do that in front of them, about them. All right. So if it's something going on with them, we're like, okay, hey, you know
Hey,
what?
go do something.
And
Get outta here.
what you also doing is you have to teach them not to try to manipulate that situation. Because if they realize that the parents are on different pages, the kids will start to manipulate that circumstance
Yep, they
and
sure will.
exploit it to their benefit. They can never not believe that me and my wife ain't on the same page.
Right.
They always got to
Mama
believe.
would be like, I shouldn't even ask him. Should have.
What you say,
Yeah,
Jeff?
he do.
I shouldn't even ask him.
Like that's your ally.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
no, so
Nah,
mom, can I have
asked him
so and so
something
such and
last
such?
week and he do- no, you
Not right now.
I talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then yeah, they took a manipulating situation. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
So and because if they start to do that, that then drives a wedge between you and your spouse.
Yeah.
You know, because now we can get distracted on
Then we
ego.
clock in for power.
Ego, yeah, exactly, and that's
Yeah.
why we can't never do
But
that.
James said something about courting. I think is important, man. Like when you talk about having disagreements with your spouse, the most important thing is preventative medicine. Like who is your spouse?
Very true.
Who did you choose?
I like that look. Who did you choose?
Who did you choose, bro? Because that's
We'll get in trouble
that's
this
90% of the battle.
Yeah.
Because did you choose someone that you met and y'all hung out and y'all were attracted to each other and y'all got together intimate and then you got to know them and then y'all decided to try to make it work, or a kid came in the picture, or whatever reason y'all decided to make it last and y'all didn't go through all these conversations and you didn't find out what her values were and she didn't find out what your values are? Because a lot of times I would say the biggest reason why I was wondering before we started was like, am I going to be even, I don't know what I'm going to talk about on this, because we share the same values about children,
Right.
about respect, about character. So, you know, most of the time now, like, so when it was time to F one of them up, she was on some type of time like, yeah, he need to be effed up over that.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you understand what I'm saying? So we were on the same page. So I just,
We're
it's
aligned
important-
from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's really
95% of it.
Yeah.
So it's really not so much a disagreement in parenting. It's just moments that you disagree about something when you're parenting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rock that.
Good
I'll
point.
give you a good example of what would happen in our house. And it wasn't really a disagreement, but it was like I just needed to like pull her chain on it and bring it to her awareness. Boys might be doing something in the house. And all of a sudden, she like, oh, that's it. Y'all go to your room. You ain't getting nothing for, you know, take that phone. You like just dishing out all kinds of punishment. I'm like, whoa. You know, now I wouldn't say nothing. You know, I let them go into their room. They suck it up. But I would be like, yo, did you tell them not to do that? Did you tell them if you do that, you're going to be punished? No. Well, how about we could have avoided all of that if you would have probably just told them that.
Right.
They would have known, and now we wouldn't even be in this situation. But your
Possibility.
kid, possibly.
Right.
Did you get,
but the
did, when you
kids,
did that, did you get, you're trying to make this about me.
no.
Okay.
But what I wanted to share and try to convey with my wife is that you can't just dish out arbitrary punishments, because at a certain level they'll not be disrespectful, but they'll just shut you out. All right, and they can never feel like they're not getting justice in the house.
They'll
Right.
revolt.
Right, exactly. They have to always feel like there's some justice in whatever is happening. And so, but when you just dishing out stuff arbitrarily, ain't talked about it, ain't said it, ain't warned them, ain't nothing, you just hit the switch. Nah,
Hey,
don't
bro,
do that.
I at risk of getting canceled.
The
I'm just gonna go
disclaimer.
ahead and say it.
Disclaimer.
Preface.
Many women gonna get me out of it. Many women, some women,
Okay.
out of all of the trillions, millions, are famous for giving punishments that don't fit the crime. They done got mad. Next thing you know, I don't want to see the TV on for 9 months. I mean, just something ridiculous. I mean, because they mad, right? And it just came
Right.
out of that emotional energy, and you like, you're not gonna be able to enforce this. First of all, you feel some type of way about it. That is true. That is a disagreement that's in every household, probably.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why did you go off like that though? Like, I understand because I done told, like back when you said, did you tell him and did you? I shouldn't have to tell him.
Right.
And that
Well,
goes
when
back
you look
to the
at
balance.
work that says progressive discipline, they gotta know. They might not understand. Or the whole conversation. I used to get this is like, they gonna get punished. I'm like, what happened? What happened? I asked them, did they want to go take their baths, and ain't nobody took one. No, you asked them.
That was the problem there. You asked. You should
Right,
have.
then I said,
Listen,
well,
you need to go
why
take
did
a
you
bath.
ask them?
Is
Oh, it ain't about me.
it's taking a bath negotiable.
It's not.
Right, okay.
You have to tell boys
Right.
what I said, let
Right.
me tell you something they're not going to do. They're not going to do the right thing. When you,
Wow.
if it's something you want to do, boy, they're not going to meet your expectation. They're not that responsible right now. They're not going to meet.
Yeah,
They're
they're 10.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old boy wants to take a bath.
She asked me if I want to take a bath or keep playing the game pretty much. That's how he heard what you said. Do you want to take it right now?
And then they'll get mad because they done pose it
Right.
as a choice or an option.
Right. And then you like, you gonna take the game though? Like, this nigga just told me he on level 29. Like,
So basically,
Cut that
from
too.
that, you helped your wife understand that she needs to establish the rules and laws, let them know what the consequences are to breaking them or not following them before she can just go issue or punishment. if you
And
will.
more importantly, it would save her a lot of aggravation. You know what I mean? You don't have to get your frustration and anger to a level when it could be avoided if
that's
we
the
just
hijack.
Yeah.
lay it all out. Yeah.
And then hijack.
We're
What's the
trying to
hijack?
avoid. We trying to avoid crisis. We trying to avoid conflict. We trying to avoid disruption in the household.
Right.
You know, I always say when you come in my house, there's a little thing on the floor that says this is our happy place.
Right.
And it is my responsibility to maintain that happy place.
Nice.
All right?
There you go.
That go with everything. And if anybody disrupting the happy place, they got to get dealt with. You know, theirs can't be so disruptive that our household is in turmoil. You can't disrupt our household like that, bro. You just not gonna do it. And so we gotta make sure that it never gets out of hand where it's disruptive.
So are you
So
saying
we nip it in the bud early by always setting expectations. You know what I mean? If you feel like your emotions are getting high because you're getting frustrated with them, hey, you got to deal with that early. Don't wait till you up here to say something.
Right.
So you saying y'all should agree and handle things the same way? Like mom and dad?
We're not going to handle things the same way.
Okay.
But if we want peace in this house, things have to be done a certain way. Now, if your way,
so if she was
if
gonna
your
give
way-
9-year sentence, and Joaquin was gonna give 2,
He can commute it.
we got a problem. But if you was gonna give 9 and I was gonna give 7, okay, you went a little hard on
Let's
that
go
one.
with
But
8.
you was at work when this crime was being committed, and she had to handle it the way she had to handle it. And so now, how do you handle it when you come back home?
You gotta do the 9 years, man.
Now, as soon as you,
Hey, look, I done plea bar you down to 3.
now, what
Only thing
happens
you can hope
is,
is that she come back and commute your sentence.
now,
I can't tell her to change it.
what happens is the kid come to you and be like, "What's wrong with you?" Man, mom said I was punished for 9 months. You know, you be like, what did you do? And then you like, oh, okay. And then you
I ain't
go,
clean
He
my
was
room.
like, that's a
I ain't clean my
9 day.
room.
That's a 9 day
But
penalty.
see what happens also from the lady side. Instead of her, you know, she frustrated, got cook, clean, all this other stuff, long work and all that.
Not in
and,
your household. You said you do all of that. That's what you said.
Nah, see, now you taking it way out.
Oh.
Man,
Okay,
hey,
my bad. Go ahead.
Hey, check the episodes out. We need the viewership. Nah, but you know, but at the same time, you know, from their perspective, I'm assuming, right, is like I want to keep fussing at them, and then I ain't said nothing, and then it done, like what I say, it done built up here. Now I'm shutting it down, you know, and they going in on you hard. You
I
But
just
you know
think
the
it's
problem
easy.
with that is,
I think it's easy to say, you know, if you say, hey, you need to clean this room up, right?
Yeah, that's easy.
Right. You didn't say when. You didn't say how. You didn't say any of that.
They
We
ain't think
talking
they
to
need
little
to tell you,
boys, right?
but-
Exactly. So it would be better if you say, hey, when I come in here at 9 o'clock, this room
better
needs
be
to be
clean.
clean. And if it's not, I'm
This is
going
what's
to take
gonna
the
happen.
power cord to your game and bring it in my room. And once your room is clean, you can come get the power cord. That's how I do punishment.
I agree with everything you said, but you just can't come right away and get the cord.
No,
You'll get
I
the
just
cord a
need,
little later.
Chuck, I just need the room clean. I just need the room clean.
And that's fair.
I
That's
just need a
justice,
role
my
play.
friend.
Nah, but if I give you the power cord right away as soon as you finish, you still in control.
That you are in control all the time. That's right. It's in your hands. Because when you go out of here and you're not in this house, it's in your hands, brother. I'm not gonna be out there to control.
Except when you go out there and you mess up the power cord, you're not gonna get it back when you want it.
Right. So whenever you do something, you need to know what the consequences are.
That's a fact.
And be prepared to suffer and pay the consequences. All
That's a
right.
fact.
So in here, I just need a clean room. I'm not interested. You know what I mean? Is it?
But there's something to that. I get what you're saying,
No.
but there's something to saying. Now listen, the violation you did though is not something that should be violated.
Okay. Let me say this.
So let me say this to you. So either the next time if this power cord thing comes up again, and you haven't learned, it's not just a matter of you coming to get the power cord.
Let me
you,
say
you
this.
You might have earned the right to know how to join.
I agree. So sometimes it's an issue of correcting behavior, and sometimes it's an issue of punishment. If I'm punishing you, you can't get the power cord right back.
Right.
If I'm just trying to correct behavior, you can get the power
Yeah,
cord
right,
back.
right.
So if they arguing and bickering and picking with each other, which was rare, they didn't do that. But I said, hey, both of y'all go upstairs to your room. Don't come down till you're not gonna be doing all that. I don't tell them stay up there all night, all day. Just come down when you want to be quiet. Once you decide you want to be quiet, come on downstairs. Now, if you come downstairs disrupting again, now when I send you up there, I got to punish you. I ain't correcting behavior because now you know what you're doing. Now we got a different issue, you know. So now you need some punishment. Now I might deal with you differently.
I think one of the big causes, man, is of these parenting issues that rise to the level of when disagreements. And I think I'm agree with Joaquin in the sense that I think the disagreement usually comes on the punishment side. Because usually we all agree that there was a violation that was committed.
Correct.
Pretty much, right?
Absolutely.
But and then this is the problem on the punishment side. Male or female. How many times did you deliver empty warnings, threats, expectations, whatever? Because that's the problem. The problem are the empty expectations.
Yeah.
Do this or
Right.
this, and then nothing happens.
Right.
Mhm.
Wolf
Do
tickets,
this or
as
that,
they
then
say.
nothing happens. Then comes the drastic
Selling wolf
thing
tickets
where,
better.
because in your mind, you like, I done gave you so many chances, I'm really taking it now. No, you know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I end up-
So if you don't police somebody used to ask me, I used to, it's almost like a security guard. Like, you can't be too lazy to parent. Like,
It takes discipline to discipline.
yeah, every time you mess up, I'm going to correct you on that thing. Every time. right? I'm not gonna let it go because you're gonna hear it every time, right? Because if I let it go and you think it's okay, and I keep letting it go and you think it's okay, then you're gonna violate it in some type of way that makes me think you really don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Or now you being disrespectful.
Right.
Tell me.
Yeah.
It just takes energy to be like, you know what? Like like all of these people talk about when they say they got bad kids. Like that's a bad. It's just a kid that's not being held accountable for every action. That's all it is.
Right.
There's
Very
people
true.
letting them go too far and thinking it's cute, thinking it's this and that,
Funny
and
enough.
then the parents, you know, that's what you say because you come together. Well, I'm gonna punish him. Why are you gonna punish him? You ain't do nothing to him last week. You've been doing it all last week, and then y'all in a disagreement over the fact that the child has never been held accountable.
Well, I think that touches on the where some of the disagreements may lie is in the form of punishment. You know what I mean? Hey, I want to spank him, or whatever. You want to give him time out. Those are forms of disagreement, and what do we do in that case? You know what I mean? Is it at certain stages, which is what I believe in? I think for K Moo, I might have had to spank him three times
In a 1
in his
week.
whole life.
Oh, not scared.
No, in his whole life. You know, around the age of between 5 and 7 or something like that. You know what I mean? And at those times, it was just to let him know. It was before I felt he could pretty much reason. I wouldn't say he couldn't reason because then I would explain to him why. And look, your son, you're jeopardizing your safety. You need to be made aware that this is something dangerous and not, that I want you to get your attention to the severity of it. Boom, the spanking will happen, whatever the case. So I think there are certain points when the timeout or whatever the case could be okay, but there also has to be a level of what would you call
But do
it?
you count when you threw him on the floor as one of the 3 beatings?
Corporal punishment. Say
Threw him on the
what?
ground.
Say what now?
Do you count when you threw Michael on the ground? As one
Oh,
of,
you crazy? Not that.
no, I'm saying because there's also that moment too. Because we're not talking about spanking when they get to be
You talking
teenagers.
about the
Was
big
there
boy
a moment when as they got older, you either had to jack them up or threaten to put hands on them or let them know you was on some different type of energy than what they used to?
Oh, for sure, for certain, I did.
And how did
with
your
them.
wife respond to that?
She was okay. Well, she understood it.
Oh, okay.
She understood it as
Did she used to spank him?
as coming from well, you have to understand that the situation of being married to his mom and then divorcing and then coming into a whole blended family piece, which I think is going to be another episode that we talk about.
For
She
sure.
couldn't put hands on him. She didn't feel comfortable putting hands on him.
My current wife? Well, no.
No, I'm talking about
Crystal. You
I'm talking about Crystal. Did
Okay.
did she ever spank him?
I don't think she was against. She didn't. No, I didn't. I can't say we had a disagreement or a problem with that.
I'm saying, did
Oh, we
she ever
actually-
spank him?
No, I don't recall.
Oh, okay.
Was he like middle school, 13, 14?
No,
something
this
like
is
that?
actually no, he was about, like I said, about between 5 and 7.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
between 5
Yeah.
or 6.
I mean, good kid anyway. But
And
I
I was
just
like,
checking.
and again,
Spanking
but I
at
didn't
13,
have.
14?
But no, that's why I was asking because he was older.
Oh.
I was thinking he was older at
And
that
then
time.
after that, though,
Why it
after
wasn't
those few
necessary.
times, and again, it wasn't in the same instance or what have you, but within that age span, after that was either like a look or whatever. That's all that was required or what have you, and he understood. As well as I modeled certain behavior to where he then knew not to not to act up and all of that.
All right.
But the disagreement was brief, and as I think Joaquin had mentioned, they're usually short lived because you then either in your explanation or coming to help her understand, your reasoning behind the rhyme to your reason or what have you, is usually very short lived. Those disagreements of parenting, or they may help you understand.
Nah, it's so complicated because sometimes y'all have blended families, so it's a little different. You know what I mean? Like sometimes a parent can, be like, man, you're way too hard on them. Like fall back, or like in your case, Gabriel might get punished at your house. how is it enforced when he go with his mama and back and forth? How that work?
It don't.
It don't.
Nah.
don't.
Nah, at the end of the day, I can't control what goes on in the household, just like she can't control what happens in my household.
Right.
And one of the examples I have is an unfortunate example, but it's real. We telling true stories. Is that Dre was doing something. I forgot what happened. And she was on him, and I let it go. Right. I was trying to be the with team. You know what I'm saying? And later on, I was like, I agree with him. You know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. This is how we should have did it.
You told her after the fact. You ain't
because
saying
I was
in the
trying to be a
moment.
united front. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I said, all right, listen, I felt boom, boom. This was my opinion in that situation. And this is how we should handle it moving forward. But then it got to the time where, when I talk about ebb and flow, it's a give and take, right? It's a give and take. Because sometimes, I use the example again, if you're having a long, hard day at work, you can't come home and kick the dog and fuss at the kids, right? And sometimes you're in that mode, and then she got to come in and take over, or vice versa. If she come and had a long, hard day, I say, you had a long day, I got this, right? So that's how the ebb and flow ought to be.
Right.
But in this particular case, it kept happening. And so now, I think you said the minister said, if somebody say something crazy in public, you got to correct them in public.
Right.
So I did not want to do this in front of the kids. But you're not going to continue talking sideways in front of the kids. Now they're going to look at me a certain kind of way. So now I got to correct you in front of the kids. Right? And so that can't happen but so many times where it just ain't going to work no more. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so there has to be a give and take, an ebb and flow.
Hey, he just said something, Joaquin. That is, you were talking earlier, absolutely never the golden rule.
Yeah.
Argue in front of the kid. He makes a good point when,
We ain't in the same house no more.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Or even if you're in the same house, what if something ethically wrong has happened?
Yeah,
Or that parent violates in a way, or
Well,
not violates, but
as I
I'm
was
saying,
listening,
at the minimum, you got to say to the kids, like, listen, I am not trying to usurp your mom's power, but that was really wrong, and I'm going to say it in front of her so she doesn't think I'm talking. But you got to correct that in front of them. It's like, I don't support what just happened as your father, because at some kind of point you still a protector. Like
Right.
so you can protect me unless she offers some ish. Or he offers, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, that's interesting, man. Because
now, as I was listening when he was saying, I was trying to present a united front. I was like, you couldn't present a united front in front of him and then tell her she was wrong away from him. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I did.
No. Oh, okay, all right.
I was united, but later on I was like, yo, I would
I
have
mean
handled this different.
simultaneously though. So then
You
maybe it
said
wouldn't have
never
lasted as
disagree
long.
in front of the kids. And
About-
that's what-
okay,
about
when you-
the children.
I thought we had
About
a-
the kids.
When you say later on-
No, but then John went on to say, I think he alluded to something like, then there's a couple times where something happened where, man, I felt like I had to defend them right then and there on the spot and correct the person.
It kept happening.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
kept
Right.
happening. And now, like you say, I'm gonna stand up for my kids, no matter who it is. And when you talk about justice and fairness,
Right.
and then you allow someone to disrespect you, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can't let my kids see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You come across as a weak man.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I think communication is another level of communication is, they used to be on a Brady Bunch or whatever, and they're going to have a family meeting at the table. And ain't none of us were never in none of them family meetings at home. To solve no problem in our house. But my point is, you got to talk to them, man. Like, just stop acting like they don't see this. Like, how do you confront the fact that they've been seeing you argue for 2 weeks? If they have. If you care. Like, you know what, man? We done got out of pocket. They overheard us. Like, or they overheard an argument or a disagreement. It's a big one, right? You got to go talk to them.
Yeah. Hey.
You can just let them process that by themselves if they did hear it.
Absolutely.
Or you gonna say, hey, look, you already know, like, you back to truth. We're not perfect. We love each other. I made a mistake because I got loud when we was talking yesterday. And I shouldn't have got loud because I got upset. I mean, you gotta
Right.
just.
Bring
I
it
done
home.
How
apologize
else
to
do
my
they
boys
learn how
many
to
times.
think? We keep
Develop.
talking about building critical thinking skills, but don't walk people through how to think through stuff.
That's a
Right.
great point.
Right.
We just leave it to them.
Yeah.
So then what do? If nobody ever shares that stuff with me, that you made a mistake in the argument, and that's why I heard you get out of pocket, then when I get in an argument, what am I gonna do?
Be out of
I'm gonna
pocket.
get out of pocket.
I wish Darius was still here
Why?
because he'll tell you he ain't never seen me and his mama argue.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we want to
But-
avoid all that.
But you ain't got no sassy mouth wife. Wow. You
How
don't have
you know?
one. You
How
don't,
you know?
if
this
she
Chubb-
give it to you, you deserve it.
What Chubb said earlier? Who you pick?
Okay.
Hey, look.
Didn't
Hey,
Chubb
that's
say that
true,
earlier?
That's true.
Who you
Hey,
pick?
look.
Hell,
You right.
John
You
even said
right.
No,
You
you
right.
right.
You said if Tracy gave it to her, he deserved it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
why he got quiet when she said something about the college thing.
Right, right.
Soon as she said, "You know what? I got something to say," he shut up.
Right.
He
He
said,
knew
he
if
said
she-
that's when it
He
clicked.
said
Like,
she
you know
was
what?
ready to say something to him. I
Right.
better be quiet.
See, but listen real quick, because we're basing what we're talking about right here now on the family unit piece. Now, it made me think, what about those who have to co-parent? And I think that's probably where this topic, if you will,
Disagreement.
yeah,
should really live.
that's where that really would be. That's where it would really be, is
Yeah.
if you co-parenting, you trying to do it from two separate households, and if there's not some discussion or something that's established, either at the split or whatever the case, that's gonna be a problem.
I guess that's what people mean when they say we're doing a great job co-parenting together, because they're able to resolve those issues. Because a lot of times,
Without
if you
making
can resolve them
the other
issues,
person look like
Well, yeah, and a lot of
bad guy.
times, the reason y'all divorce is because you can't resolve nothing.
That's what
Right.
I was about to say.
Yeah, if we could resolve it, we still be together. That's
Yeah.
what I always say.
And if we agreed on everything, I mean, on
Yeah.
most things.
But I mean, but to the credit though, it has gotten. We do a lot better in certain cases. It's excellent.
But that's in time and maturity, is that
in
because
time
they're
and
older and all that
maturity
or whatever,
and
or
having
what?
different expectations. And I'll say this one too. I'll give a good positive story. When Dre was small, I came in his life when he was 4, 5, whatever. You know what I mean? And we used to play around. And she'd be like, "Oh, stop! You hurting him? You hurting him?" I'm not hurting him. You know what I mean? I ain't hurting him. He just ain't used to no man, rough and tumble, this, that, the other, right? But to her credit, I understood at the time she was protecting her son.
Right.
Until she knew and trusted me enough that I wasn't hurting him,
She knew your intentions was good.
Exactly. And then
Right.
fast forward, when he was wrestling with some other kids, he was really holding his own and handling himself. You know what I mean? And that was the point at that particular time,
Right.
And
Sure
that was
was.
the point. And that was a victory as far as
Correct.
being able to communicate and have an understanding.
Was
of the
he
difference
handling
in
them?
parenting. Hey, look, he was handling so bad. I felt bad for the other kids.
I think it's important, man. And
We ain't breaking the spirit. We just handle them. Let it go. Let it go.
on the relationship side, and even if you're co-parenting, number one with the co-parenting, man, and I haven't been through a divorce or a co-parenting situation, but we got to do a better job ending relationships.
Facts.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got to stop ending relationships with so much anger and bitterness to the point where we let it affect the biggest thing we did together,
Wow.
which was create these babies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which
That's
was probably
heavy.
some of our best days when we were in the days of creating them
At least best nights.
and agreeing.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say the best nights, baby.
America. Look at Bernie Mac say America. You can't say nothing around nasty people. They're going to find a way to
Some
make it
of our
nasty.
best, well, sometime in the day, day
But I'm
and
saying,
night.
but
That's some of
look,
the
but that
best.
moment where out of those nights, y'all created it, and she showed you the pregnancy test, and you didn't say, "Damn." And that's the moment I'm talking about. When you like, "Oh man, we gonna have one." You know what I mean? Not when you was like, "Oh shit." Okay, all right.
Okay.
I done did all the above.
Yeah. You
It's a
sure?
blessing.
You sure? Which one to control? No, it ain't got no line. Let's go get another one. But anyway, my point is, when you had that energy with each other, everything you thinking about when you was reading the what was it, week by week pregnancy book? It's week 8 now.
What to expect?
Guess
What
what?
to expect?
Yeah,
His
yeah.
eyes blinking.
Yeah.
on this
What to
side
expect
now.
when you're expecting?
What to expect? Yeah,
Yeah.
His eyes blinking now. Like, you was all that joy and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And even when you married, what about the fact that we supposed to just hold each other down? Like sometimes I've said to my sons, like, I knew her before I knew y'all.
Yeah, that's it. That's real.
I knew her before I knew y'all.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Not to mention,
that's
not to
it.
mention y'all wouldn't be here. I'm gonna take it first. Just on GP,
Right.
I knew her first, bro. So my point is,
that
sometimes
too.
I gotta honor. If she get extra on you every now and then, I gotta fall back sometimes.
Right. Right.
Cause she went off, but that's my man.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying that's my man.
Yeah,
but
I know
get
what
it.
you mean.
She get one of those. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
so sometimes,
That's right.
sometimes you looking at me and I'm like,
You got to eat this one, player.
Yeah. What you want me to do?
Because you're gonna have to be able to navigate that on your
Yeah.
own
Now, if
as
I
a
care
child,
about
as a young
you-
man, as an adult.
if I care about you, because I do need you to respect the fact that you have a duty and responsibility to her outside of me and my involvement. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's true.
But I gotta hold you down until it gets toxic. If what happened is toxic, then ain't no cut cards on how we gonna deal with this. We
Right,
gotta put
right.
it out there on the table.
That's true.
If it's toxic and the violated, the potentially create some trauma with somebody, then you gotta eat crow, or I gotta eat crow and say, you know what, I messed up.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have went down like that. We're gonna fix this. But other than even in the co-parenting thing, man, I need for you to see your mom in a good light to be a healthy young man. But if your mom isn't living that life, then I gotta be honest with you about some of the dark realities in life.
Mm-hmm.
At an age
Just like
appropriate
that, and
time.
I'm gonna give you an
Yeah.
Of
example.
course, definitely at
I'ma
an
give you
age,
an example.
appropriate age.
Your mom a substance abuser. You 9. Hey man, I know it look crazy, but your mom a dope fiend. That's what dope fiends do. I can't hide that from you. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if he see the
so just so you
consequences.
know, me and her might disagree on some stuff till she get right again or whatever. But my point is like, based on where your situation is, you got to be upfront honest with these kids and stop thinking they don't understand stuff, man.
Yeah,
They're
that's
going to
for sure.
school and learning pages worth of stuff, man, and getting socialized beyond what you think, and been hearing about other people's divorces and problems like that. So stop thinking you protecting somebody by telling them the truth about some real stuff that they dealing with. You know,
Right.
Yeah, that's some real good stuff.
you don't get violated sometimes. We all get violated sometimes. You know, like
That's rough. But that's real. Nah.
it's
But
real.
like John said, at the age appropriate, how you give it to them.
oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be given to them.
Never
and-
tell them no more than they need to know.
Yeah.
Like you don't say your mama substance abuse, man. She down there on her knees getting crack and everything.
Right.
You know, she got a problem right now. Hopefully we can get it worked out. But things are gonna be a little out of whack to you. Like it's gonna be some stuff you don't normally see happen or whatever. But on the disagreement side, man, you would hope if we could do one thing with the divorce rate at what it is. Well, I don't know if it's 3 out of 4, whatever. It used to be 50%.
Yeah.
We
still
need to
is.
find a way to get along better with this co-parenting thing and show this united front in the interest of the child's emotional balance. Because otherwise, what do we still want each other? Like, why are we still having a power struggle? We still want each other? Like, what is it?
I think the other point too is like we saying this whole conversation has been from a male's perspective.
Yeah.
But everything we've said about the women can also be said about the men.
It does, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It
So I
does.
just want to
True that.
make that statement that,
Yeah.
we're not just talking about women. You know what I
'Cause
mean?
matter
We
of fact,
talking about the other person.
Men are more likely to come off the handle
Right.
on some dumb, ignorant rules because we frustrated too.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was the
Absolutely.
quickness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just said so. Don't do as I say.
And with ego.
Not as I do.
That cause I said so stuff, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, that ain't never sit well with me when I was a kid, man. I hated that. And one of the things I told my boys, I will never say that to you because I said so. No, because whatever I say to you I have a reason for saying it.
Yeah.
And I have no problem explaining it to you. Now, I'm not explaining it to you because you're the authority here. I'm explaining it to you because I want you to understand, reason, and process
Right.
and understand why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. You know, because I'm not being unfair. I'm not being unjust in any way. We're not being unfair and unjust. We have no problem explaining to you exactly what the expectations are, exactly what the rules are. But you got to know there's a way to approach me and ask me for that information when you want it.
Right.
And then
You know.
what is it? Oh, that's so stupid.
If they say that,
Yeah.
I don't do stupid stuff.
Stupid. What'd you say?
Well,
So
I
you
think
can't
it's-
say that.
What'd you say? What'd you say? Why?
He said, "What if the kids?"
No, I'm
say,
saying what'd you say? You would say.
I don't do stupid stuff.
So
I ain't telling them nothing stupid. Now, I might be telling them something that's beyond his
You don't
capacity
think so.
for understanding because of his immaturity. Now, if that's the case, and that's how he
yeah, you
responds,
shamed him.
and I shamed him.
I don't know.
Hey,
Just talk.
if you run out
Yeah,
on
I
the street,
said-
I ain't got time to explain you why.
No.
You need
no,
to. Sometimes you
no,
just
no,
need
no.
to listen and trust me at a certain point.
You cannot protect what you can't control.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So yeah, no, I'm not saying he running out in the street and he like, why I can't run and he running in the street. That's not what we're saying. We're saying
Right.
after you listen,
But sometimes that's an analogy though. So sometimes you do have to trust me. It might not tell you
Well, right.
why and when at the point, but you have to trust and
but
listen.
will you give him an answer later?
Right.
Can you give him an answer
yeah,
later?
would you?
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
the question.
yeah, I
Let me
do.
tell you
I do.
something.
Right.
If you destroy reason, if you present yourself as a parent that's irrational and illogical to a reason-given child, you are giving away your authority to guide them. Because
Absolutely.
they will see you as someone that's beneath their need to listen to.
Yeah.
Because you're just saying dumb stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
like,
That's right.
I trust you, you my mama, but
that doesn't make sense.
yeah,
You tripping.
yeah. And then and don't put your spouse in a position like this. What do you mean, Mom? What? And she gotta say, I don't know. You know how it is after he leave that job. Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't put
Yeah.
your spouse in that position. She should be able to explain exactly why you are dishing out, or he should be able to explain exactly why the child is receiving whatever language and punishment they get. Because if you're saying stupid stuff to the point where the other person can't explain it and defend it, you need to stop.
Right.
Because you're losing respect from your child. You are. It's like,
That's right.
they irrational. They're looking at
Yeah.
you as like, look at
They own one.
Reasoning, understanding. They can never feel like there's no justice. Rules are arbitrary. Don't do that to your kids.
right.
Don't do that
And
to
the
them.
biggest thing to help you remind that is, in terms of the wives, what we learn in the Mars, James, like the husband is someone who manages a vineyard, a husbandman.
All right.
He don't own a vineyard, he manages
He's a-
the
yeah.
vineyard. So a husband, we don't own these women.
Responsibility of something that we
These are
don't
women
own.
that
Yeah.
God has given to us to take charge of and look out for by his permission. So it ain't our women, it's his women.
Bro, please
back
say
to-
that again.
Back to those children,
We
they
don't
not
own
even
these
your
women.
children
Thank you.
for you to
Thank
be
you.
messing over. They God's children. So you better
Thank
watch
you.
how you treat them and be fair and use the right language. So we shouldn't be disagreeing about nothing when it comes to God's children.
Come on.
Anyway.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Good
And
place to
God
end
has
it.
blessed us with the responsibility
Yeah.
of being the caretakers of these
That's
children.
it.
They are not mine. Bro, ain't nothing sit worse with me than that's my kid. That's
No,
my
it's
son.
not.
That's
No, it's
my
not.
kid. But that's a bunch of foolish
You ought to be
ignorance.
grateful God used you to bring them here.
Exactly.
But that's about as far as it goes.
That's
Your,
some
your
good stuff.
duty to them is dictated by whatever universal power you govern your life by.
Come on now.
You know,
That's right.
so.
Teach,
Absolutely.
brother.
So, parents, please stop with that. That's my kid. That's my son and all. Please stop with that. God has blessed you with the opportunity to take care and raise
Your future.
these human beings.
That's right.
And you, it is your responsibility to be the caretaker of their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Do
Right.
not take that lightly, and understand that we must be responsible at all times.
And
for
as
that.
we talk about dealing with differences of opinion and raising our children, you knew one another before you knew the children. Commit to the vision you had for the best of that child and support one another and tell each other in the right spirit if there's a disagreement. But also understand that if you do make a mistake, we got to be man and woman enough to say that in front of our children in the interest of developing their mental health. It's the B2M crew chopping it up about
Yep.
decisions and
Good
balancing
talk.
time with
Good talk,
children
fellas.
and all of those things. And Joaquin, what you gonna take us out with? We at the Code Building in Charlottesville. Our ambassador Joaquin's gonna take us out with a good word, but thank y'all for tuning in.
As always, in the words of the great Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Peace.
Winning. I'ma show 'em how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I finish with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute. And I won't stop until I'm winning. They don't want me in the office cause I